Pacifica Health Talanoa, proudly brought to you by Pacific Heartbeat at the Heart Foundation.
Hey, and we say warm Pacific greetings to Sue Pirit and Maria Bernhard, Pacific Heartbeat team with the Heart Foundation. Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon, Namai, and warm, like you said, Namai, warm Pacific greetings to all our listeners and viewers today from Palangi Sue, and welcome to our weekly session, our Pacifica Health Talanoa, where we chat all about nutrition topics that hopefully are helpful to our Pacific families. And this afternoon we've got a very special guest with us because our Pacific Health Manager at the Heart Foundation, Mafi Funaki Tahifoti, she's away today. So I'd love you to give a very warm welcome to my workmate and colleague, Maria Bernhard, who's a nutritionist and nutrition trainer at Pacific Heartbeat. So welcome, Maria.
Thank you, Sue. Warm Pacific greetings to everyone out there, all the listeners. It's lovely and a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah.
So, what did you and Muffy talk about last week, Sue?
We had quite a talanoa, Maria, about some smart shopping tips. Yes.
And what things did you come up with?
Well, we had a real long little chat about it, and some of the things we came up with were that to definitely make a shopping list before going shopping, otherwise you're putting all sorts of things into the basket. Another one was to have something to eat before we went shopping, because otherwise you're picking things off the shelf and they're going into the basket and costing more money. And then we also thought it'd be good to have a bit of a plan for the kids, like for the littlies to be babysat in the car or at home, and the older ones to have a job to do. And then another really good one was to buy those in-season fruits and vegetables, because they are a lot cheaper. Like at the moment, Maria, we've got tomatoes, we've got cucumbers,
strawberries have come out.
Yeah, lettuces. They're all coming to capsicums. They're all coming down in price.
That's right.
So that was a tip, the in-season, but also the tip to buy the frozen vegetables. And I'm just holding up a bag here of Pam's chunky vegetables. So these frozen ones are just as good as the fresh ones.
Very good.
So very quick and easy. Another one was to shop around the outside of the supermarket, not outside the door, but around the outside wall, and because that's where all the fresh produce
fresh meat and fresh vegetables.
And also you see all the dairy there, don't you? Like the
Yes.
milk and the cheese and the yogurt. But
Fresh
if we have to go down the aisles, so to not just look at eye level, because that's where they put all the expensive stuff. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So to do our exercises and to go up and to go down and look up.
Yeah.
And you might find some things like some of the cheaper. I've got a couple of cans of baked beans here, so it's really worth going up and down. That was another tip. And also that our budget brands or supermarket brands, and you've got a box of home brand wheat biscuits there, Maria, and I've got a budget bag of pasta here, and I've got some budget brown rice, and I've got some Pam's rolled oats, a bag of rolled oats. Those supermarket brands or those home brands are just as good often and cheaper. So that was another really good tip to save money.
Yeah.
And if you can afford it, to buy in bulk and freeze some. But the last one was about veggies again, that shopping at the markets is often much cheaper, for fruits and veggies. It's another good value.
Those are great tips, and I'm sure everyone has hopefully they've taken them on board and they can use them.
Yeah, hope so.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about this week? What should we talk about?
Well, I thought, talking to Muffy earlier in the week, we thought that following on, we've been planning meals, we've been making a shopping list, so we thought maybe we need to chat about some healthy cooking tips. So we're going to cook the food now.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about Pacific families, Maria, and is there one way of cooking that is really popular, and maybe one that, probably we shouldn't practice quite so much?
Well, it's probably deep frying. I think Pacific people love to deep fry meat and even flour. So that's one.
Chicken,
And
yeah,
chicken.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's one we shouldn't do quite so much.
Cut back if we can.
If we
yes,
can. And is there
yeah.
any reason we should be not deep frying quite so much?
I think in our Pacific communities, there are higher rates of obesity and
Okay.
diabetes, cardiac and heart disease, and even cancer.
Yeah,
So we by cutting back, that
Yeah.
will lower the risk of.
that'll help.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good information to know, isn't it?
Mm.
And so, Maria, you're a cook. You love to cook.
I love cooking. Yeah.
So, are there some healthier ways of cooking that are still easy that our viewers and listeners could have a go at instead of deep frying?
Definitely. So yeah, there's quite a few different methods.
Yes.
So one is stir fry.
Okay, how do you do
Yeah.
that?
So you only use maybe a tablespoon of oil.
Yes.
Just a little bit, and then you could add.
What do you put it into?
A frying pan.
Oh, frying pan,
Yeah, into
yeah.
a frying pan. Add the little bit of oil.
Yes.
You could start with a little bit of chicken.
Yes.
Or onions, and then the chicken, and then you can add you were holding up one of these bags of frozen vegetables. Just chuck some of like half a bag of that in, and
That sounds easy.
stir it up, and it's very quick and easy. Yeah.
And I know that Pacific families absolutely love their pea soup, don't they?
They
So we've got a
do, they
can
do.
of pea soup here. So
Thank
what
you.
could they do with that?
Well,
Or if they were going to stir fry?
if they were going to stir fry this, I would take the tin and put it into some boiling water, like into another pot. Put it in the boiling water, and that will melt the fat that's around the meat. And then take out the tin, open up the can, and drain off the fat. And throw the fat away. Don't try and keep it for later.
So don't put it on your green bananas.
No. We want to throw that out.
Oh, you meanie, Maria.
Sorry. And then we can put that in a pot with vegetables like these vegetables or seasonal vegetables, frozen vegetables.
So you could stir fry with that too.
Stir fry it up.
Yeah.
And
Delicious.
you can add a cabbage if you like. And yeah, that'll be lovely.
And it probably goes further too, because they're
It
not
will.
cheap, those cans.
No,
They
that's
used to be, but
true.
not so much now.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
know another good one is to grill our meats or barbecue. Trim as
yeah.
much fat off that we can see, or take the skin off the chicken and put it in the oven and grill it
Yeah.
on maybe a tray, and then the fat drips off
Drips
it, doesn't
down,
it? So
that's
that's
right.
another healthier way.
It
Yeah.
is,
So we've got
yeah.
stir frying and grilling. Have you got another one?
Yeah, and so another one is baking or roasting.
Okay, in the
so
oven.
In the oven, so you could put a chicken in there, and then the fat drains down into the tray below.
So it's a good idea to put it on a rack
You could put it on a rack if you've got a
inside the
rack.
tray, and
Yeah.
just to.
Yeah, just to catch the fat
Catch
or
the
keep
fat,
the
yep.
chicken away from the fat.
That's a good one. And I've heard all about this steaming, or the thing called an umu.
Umu,
Am I
yes.
saying it right?
Umu, yeah.
Is that in the Tongan and the Samoan?
Yes,
culture?
I think they use the same word.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the umu is where you wrap up the food into the banana leaves.
Oh, yes.
And then you put it on the hot stones,
Yeah.
cover it with more banana leaves,
Yes.
and then it does like
So it steams.
steamed food.
So steam food's very
Yeah,
healthy.
Very healthy.
And I know when we steam in our kitchens at home, above a pot of water, that steaming actually, nutritionally, it keeps all the goodness in vegetables, actually. You hardly lose any nutrition, so it's a great, healthy way of cooking.
It is.
Have you got another one, Maria?
Yeah, so there's another one, boiling or stewing. Mm-hmm. And then another word is, in this kind of same method, is poaching. So I think Pacific maybe not know that word poaching, but it actually, when you put fish into a frying pan and you might add a little bit of coconut cream and let it boil or simmer a little bit, that's the same as poaching.
So what could you do with the coconut cream? Because we've
Yeah.
talked before that that's quite high in fat, isn't
It
it?
is. So you could either water down the
Okay.
fat, or
Yeah.
you could buy there's light coconut cream.
Okay, so
You
still
could-
haven't, but
yeah.
yeah.
You could try both those methods to kind of reduce the fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. And there's a funny word here, blanching. I don't know whether the listeners and viewers have heard of blanching.
That's it's quite a simple thing to do. So you have to get the water boiling in the pan. So it has to be boiling
In a pot or
in a pot. Sorry,
yeah?
in a pot.
Yes.
And then once it's boiling, you you have to quickly dunk the vegetables into the water and then pull it out. So maybe just have it in there for a minute or 2 minutes and then pull it out.
So it'd be like you've cut up some cauliflower, broccoli, some carrots, and you just drop them in just for a minute and then
Yeah.
pull them out.
or like corn on the
Corn
cob.
on the cob,
Yeah,
gosh, that's coming into
that's coming
season
soon.
soon.
Yeah.
And that way, those nutrients or the nutrition is preserved as well, isn't it?
is,
Yeah,
yeah.
it keeps it. And my one, I'm a very lazy cook and like to do it fast, so I use the microwave a lot. I don't know if listeners or viewers have microwaves, but I know I cook chicken and fish in there a lot, and veggies, in a glass container.
And that's just like steaming, isn't it?
Very like steaming, so you
Yeah.
retain all the nutrition in the food.
Yeah.
So those are some really good tips, Maria. So just in summary,
Sure.
just give us a rundown on those healthier tips
Yeah.
again. And you've got a pamphlet
Yeah, I've
there,
got a
have you?
pamphlet here. We've got our Eat for Health Heart Foundation pamphlet, and on there we've got all the cooking tips on the back page so that you can refer to. So we'll just go over some of these smart cooking tips for you. Oh, thanks, Sue, if you hold that up. So we've got stir fry, which we covered, and then there is grilling, which is just
Yeah.
above. We've got baking and roasting here. We also went over steaming, like having an umu, which is down at the bottom.
Or in the pot?
Or in the
yeah,
pot.
above the boiling water.
That's
Yeah.
right, yes, if you've got a steamer. Yeah.
Yes.
Then we went over, what was that? Boiling and stewing, which is
Yes.
at the top here. Blanching, I don't know if it's on the leaflet, but it's similar to boiling. And then microwave, which
Yeah.
Sue likes to do. Yeah.
And I know this little pamphlet, you can order it for free from the Heart Foundation website. I think you can get up to about 50 free.
Wow,
And it's
okay.
www.heartfoundation.org.nz, and just look for resources on the website. And it's also done in the Samoan, Tongan and the Cook Island language as well. So it's a really good
Great,
one.
Very
yeah.
good resource. So what's a good follow-on from smart shopping and cooking tips? Yeah. What
So
should we
we've
do?
done meal planning, we've done smart shopping tips, we've now talked about healthy ways of cooking. So I thought maybe next time we could talk about how to read food labels so that families, when they are cooking, they can go to the supermarket, they've made their list, and they can start looking at the products that they're putting in their baskets. And each product has this
Yeah.
little table
Yeah.
on the back of it. I'm holding up a baked beans can. It's got a little table on the back, and Maria's got the wheat biscuits. And it's often hard to see,
Quite
but it's
small.
It is, but it's got all the nutrition information on it so that we can really choose some healthier products for our families.
Make better choices.
Make
eh?
better choices. So
Yeah.
I think next week we'll do reading food labels for when we're shopping.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So thank you for Maria for standing in for Muffy today. It's been lovely to have you and to have your knowledge, because Maria loves to cook and she's a really good cook. We're lucky at work. She's always bringing us in nice goodies. And don't leave us straight away, because Namai has got a $50 Pack and Save voucher that she can give away, so that you can go and shop for some of these products. and she's just going to ask you one question about the topic we've been talking about today, the healthy cooking tips. And so one of the lucky ringers in will win the $50 Pack and Save voucher. So we'll just... So goodbye till next time.
It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria. And have a really great week.
Have a great week.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Pasifika Health Talanoa, proudly brought to you by Pacific Heartbeat at the Heart Foundation.